On today's episode, we are looking at the finances of a married couple. The husband is a 33-year-old chartered accountant, and the wife is a 33-year-old assistant pharmacist. They have two kids aged 4 and 2, and they say that their debt balance is starting to scare them and it's giving them sleepless nights. They also say that they want to renovate their house, further their education, and buy investment property. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Itumeleng. I'm a qualified management accountant, and on this channel, I help ordinary people like you learn how to start saving money, get out of debt, invest, and ultimately build wealth. If that is something you're interested in, please do subscribe and become a part of our growing, rich family. Now let us get into the finances of our love bit. The husband is a chartered accountant, like I said, and takes home 62,000 rand a month. The wife is an assistant pharmacist and takes home 20,400 rand. In total, their monthly income is 82,400 rand. I said, that's a nice income you guys have there, don't you think? They said, no. You know what, ma'am? It looks like it's a lot, but it's very little. It's very little, and we are unable to do anything with this money. You know, our finances are so tight. When you see it on paper, it looks like a lot of money, but the economy is tough and we are just struggling. And we think the solution is to just study further so that we can get promotions and earn more. That is the only solution we have. If we can just earn more, you know, our finances will start to look up, because our biggest issue is we just don't earn enough. They think that if they further their studies, automatically they're going to be promoted. Automatically they're going to earn more. And if they earned more, they would be fine. And that's what a lot of people think when they look at their income. They think the problem is just the income. Sometimes it is, you know, some people just don't earn enough. Some people earn 3,000. And when you look at it, you know, it can do some things, but, you know, it would make sense if, you know, they said, I don't earn enough, but they earn enough. You know, these people have 82,000 and they're struggling with 82,000. Even if you gave them 180,000, they would still find a way to blow it and then wait on another promotion. I'm now going to look at their savings and investments as well as debt balances. Savings and investments, they have no savings. The only investment that they have is the husband's retirement fund, and the balance there is currently 145,000. No emergency fund, no TFSAs, nothing, just a retirement fund, and it belongs to one person. I said, what is the reason only one of you has a retirement fund? And the wife quickly jumped in and said, that's my fault, ma'am. You know, it's just not something that I prioritized. But going forward from today, I'm going to also set up a retirement fund for myself. Okie dokie. All right. Now, we are going to need more than just the wife's retirement fund to correct this picture. Emergency fund. You have two kids, you are two grown adults, you are living in the world, emergencies are bound to happen. And a lot of emergencies require money. Where do you get yours? They said credit cards. Yeah, we use credit cards in case of emergencies, because remember, we told you we don't earn enough. So naturally, if we have an emergency, we'll just use one of our credit cards. And that's just how we've been doing it. I said, okay, we cannot continue to live like that. We will not on that income. And I told them, because I see your income different from the way you see it, I think you can afford to have an emergency fund. We are going to add an emergency fund to the savings and investments. We are going to add TFSAs for both of you, and we are going to max out those TFSAs every tax year. The chartered accountant said, max out the TFSA. Us, not possible. We are unable. I said, say, maxing out a TFSA is 3,000 a month. If you paid monthly, it's 3,000 a month. What's 3,000 for both of you? Okay, 6,000 combined, but that's nothing. We'll see as we get to the rest of the finances how we are going to do it. He said, but with the income we have, I don't see how we could have an emergency fund and fully funded TFSAs. We'll just have to see, because for us, we just think we need to study further. If we further our studies, then maybe, just maybe, things like TFSAs could really, be part of our savings and investments. Say you have 145,000 in your retirement fund on this income. I'm pretty sure you can do anything. I'm pretty sure you can have 36,000 in your TFSA every single year. But we'll see. With their two kids, I said, let's also get started on an education fund for the kids. Just a little bit. If we can just put 1,000 every single month. And I showed them a screenshot. I shared my screen and we went through an investment calculator that showed that if you just invest 1,000 rands for your kids in 16 years, it will amount to over 400,000 rands, 1,000, right? Without even increasing it year on year. Just 1,000 for 16 years could give you over 400,000, and you can use that money to help with your kids' tertiary education. Their bursaries, they might be lucky and they get scholarships, bursaries, but if they don't, you know that you have a little bit of a plan. 400,000 rands for university in the next 16 years. We know it's not going to be enough, but it's better than nothing. The husband said, you know what? Our education plan for the kids was, not education funds or stuff like that. What we were thinking is buying an investment property, turn it into a student accommodation. And, with student accommodation, the money is really good. And when the kids go to university, we can use some money from, the investment property. When the students pay rent and stuff like that, we'll use that money, and that will be the money that we use towards the kids' education. So do we still need to set up an education fund and pay 1,000? Because even the 1,000 we can't afford. It's an emergency fund, it's TFSAs, and now you want us to find 1,000. I don't think we will be able. I said, with the with the investment property, it's fine. You can, somewhere down the line, not anytime soon, we'll get to the rest of their finances. You can get the investment property, turn it into student accommodation, like you said. And in 18 years, if things go according to the way he's imagining it, he thinks it's all sunshine and rainbows. He says he has seen his friend, really kill it at this thing. So investment property is not the topic for today. I've spoken a lot about it, and especially with student accommodation. Student accommodation, he thinks with student accommodation, he will have money every single month from the student accommodation that he can put into his kids' education. And maybe 16 years from now, the system would have improved, but currently, that's not how it works. Currently, for a lot of people, it's a struggle to get money from NSFAS, bursaries, get your money cleared to come to you from a student accommodation. Some people only receive the rent as a lump sum at the end of the year. So imagine your kids are stuck at vets and you don't have that month-on-month rental income from the student accommodation. You'll only receive it in December. That is where the little education fund money will come in. While you are waiting for the student accommodation money, you will still be able to pay for some things in the meantime. So we are going to get started. It's just 1,000 rands, right? Now let us look at their debt balances. Remember, they said this is their biggest concern. They are unable to sleep at night. They are having nightmares because they feel like the debt that they have is just too much. So let's see what's happening. Contempo, 3,000 rands. Discovery credit card, 5,000 rands. Edgar's, 10,000 rands. Macro, 40,000 rands. Investec credit card, 75,000 rands. FNB credit card, 130,000 rands. Woolworths credit card, 150,000 rands. Even me, I can't sleep at this point. I'm getting nightmares. Huh? Car, 233,000 rands. In total, their debt balance is 646,000. What happened? What is this? What are we looking at? The wife said, we told you 82,000 cannot buy anything. So you see what we have to go through. You see how hard our lives are. We have no money. So anything we need, little basics here and there and emergencies, we have to use credit cards. Even at Edgar's, even Makro, what emergency things do they sell at Edgar's and Makro? And Woolworths? The husband said, well, the FNB and the Woolworths, we can explain. Those were the only two that they can remember what they did with the money. They said the Woolworths credit card as well as the FNB credit card was because they once had a BMW. After the wife gave birth to their second child, they said, you know what? We need an SUV. We need a family car. And we are going to get it from BMW. So much for being broke and poor and earning less, but we entered BMW. They did. They went to BMW, bought an SUV, and they say within a few months we realized, wrong turn. And the husband, in his own words, he says it was just a status symbol. It was not that we really needed the car. So we let go of the car and we had a big shortfall to cover. And then we used our FNB and Woolworths credit cards to help. You see, they don't have an income problem. The income is there. The income was able to pay for a BMW at some point. All right, and the rest of the stuff, we really don't have an explanation for. The only thing they know is that for now, it's giving them sleepless nights. They did not realize it, when they were swiping, taking everything, buying stuff at Edgar's and Makro and just swiping credit cards like crazy. And now they say, no, it's too heavy. We want to get out of this debt. We are now going to look at their monthly expenses to see how are they spending this 82,000 rands, and maybe we might finally just see, is 82,000 rands too little? These are their monthly expenses. When we started the consultation, they had their camera on. When you have a consultation with me, I'm going to see you, but you are not going to see me. I remember some other time someone said, why can't I see you, but you can see me? I said, that's because I'm not the one on trial here. So with our couple, as I looked at them, I made a joke and I said, oh, you guys are in a house. You guys are not on the streets. Because when I went through their finances, they didn't have a rent payment or a bond or anything like that. So when I said that, they said, no, ma'am, we do have a house. We live in a house. We are not on the streets. What happened was after they got married, the husband's parents gifted them with a full house, a beautiful big house in a nice neighborhood. So that is why you will not see a mortgage payment or a rent payment. That's because these two lovebirds don't have none of that. They were very blessed. That is an amazing gift to have. I asked, is everything in your name? Is the house in your name? Transfer and everything? They said, yes, ma'am. You must always check, because safety first, guys. Ne? So the house is theirs. They have a house fully paid off as far as they know by the guy's parents, which is amazing. I said to them, that's both good news and bad news, because you have a house and, this is their dream house. They're going to remodel it and stuff, but it's a beautiful big house. Like I said, you have a house that is paid off that you paid nothing towards. Yet you're still crying, poor, poor, poverty, we have nothing. You see, the problem is you. But let's see their monthly expenses. Car, 3,500 rands. After they surrendered the BMW, they got another car that they could afford. Petrol, 2,000 rands. Insurance, 1,900 rands. This insurance is both car insurance and home contents as well as their cell phones. Water, 5,000 rands. That's a bit high, right? I said, what is the reason? They said, we know you said, oh, this house is amazing and it's a gift and stuff. And not that we are complaining, but, the area we live in is very expensive. And, it's just very difficult to maintain this house. And the water here is just crazy. We pay a lot of money in water. We've tried everything to reduce it, but, it's difficult. So that is the water that we pay currently. No, that's fine. It's a free house. Don't complain. Stop complaining. The only thing we should say about this house going forward is just thank you. Thank you. Thank you for a house. Yes, the water is expensive and they say there's nothing they can do about it, but stop blaming it on the house. Electricity, 3,000. Also high. They say it's also the area problem. Levies, 1,500 rands for an area that is, code expensive. The levies are quite low, right? Maybe they are covered by the water bill. Groceries, 5,000 rands. Not bad, right? We've seen worse. But I believe if you can spend 5,000 rands on groceries, you can spend 4,500 rands and we recoup that 500 rands. Even if we just put that 500 rands towards the kids' education fund, that would have been progress, right? Medical aid, 8,000 rands. Husband's retirement, 7,000 rands. Life and funeral cover, 1,100 rands. Woolworths, 8,000 rands. F&B, 3,500 rands. Pay Just Now, 2,500 rands. Contempo, 200 rands. PayFlex, 6,000 rands. I said, okay, I know we already went through the debt balances, but we didn't see Pay Just Now and the PayFlex. What were they for and what is currently outstanding? They said, no, for Pay Just Now and PayFlex, those are the last payments and it was for renovating the bathroom. We were trying to remodel our bathroom because this house was built a long time ago. It's very old. So we were just trying to modernize it so that it can be cute. And we used Pay Just Now and PayFlex, but those are the last payments. Do you see they never they never pay for anything, cash. It either has to be a credit card or some sort of a payment arrangement. And they said, there's a lot of areas in the house we have to renovate, just to, bring the house up to today's standards. And we will continue to renovate the house slowly, room by room. Okay, no. It's good that the Pay Just Now and the PayFlex, these are the final payments going forward. This 8,500 rands is not going to be going towards renovations. Let's pause renovations. You've renovated your bathroom, good. Anything else, other rooms, we pause them until we sort out your biggest worry, which is the debt. The only thing we are going to renovate going forward is that Woolworths credit card. And we have 8,500 rands from Pay Just Now as well as PayFlex to start getting our finances back on track. Let's continue. Macro credit card, 2,800 rands. Edgar's, 700 rands. Standard Bank credit card, 300 rands. This is the settlement amount. So going forward, this 300 rands is going to be free. Helper, 5,000 rands. School fees for their 2 kids, 8,600 rands. I said, what is the reason you guys pay school fees monthly and not just once off for the whole year at the beginning of the year and also get a nice discount? The wife said, obviously that is the dream, but we just don't have the money. We would want to pay it like that and forget it some other time, but currently that's just not where we are. I asked if they don't get any bonuses during the year that they could put towards school fees. The husband said he is the one that gets a bonus. His bonus comes in August, and it's a good amount of money, around 100,000 rand. That could cover school fees, right, with a discount. He said he does receive it, but it's only in August. Okay, receiving the bonus in August is not a problem here. The problem is just the intention. Are you willing to put it aside for the school fees? Because this will not fly. 8,600 rands every single month is a lot, especially when you have an opportunity. They have the means. They received the bonus last year, August, and no one knows where it went. I know it didn't go to Woolworth's credit card. So going forward, let's put it towards something we can, point to, something we can say, something we can remember to say, no, our bonus goes towards school fees. But that is what they have there for school fees month on month. And they say this 8,600 rands, they are only going to start paying in February. We had a consultation in January. In January, the kids were not at school yet because the parents could not afford to pay the 8,600 rands. A lot is going on. A lot is going on, and it's not funny anymore. These two lovebirds could not pay school fees for January. The kids have to stay home, wait for February, and that is only then when they can be able to pay. So that said, that makes me sad, because if you cannot afford 8,600 rands, maybe just don't take the kids to an 8,600 rand school. But maybe it's another status symbol, or it's just what they prefer. But they agreed the kids are going to start school in February. But then that just means that the 8,600 rands that they allocated here should be available this month end of January, because their budget shows that it should be there. They just sort of chose not to allocate it towards the school fees. And that's what's happening with a lot of their finances. Their finances is not that they don't get enough money. It's just what they choose to spend money on, because you spend money on all those things, but you are unable to, you refuse to pay school fees. And from where I'm standing, they're just like, we will not pay school fees in January, we'll start in February. But this 8,600 rands should be available to pay some debt this month, right? Because if not, what are you doing with it? Because I know it's not paying school fees, right? Gardener, 800 rands. A gardener we can pay, make our garden look nice. But registration fees, no, next month. Toiletries, 2,000 rands. Airtime, 300 rand. Their nice house comes with free Wi-Fi. That's nice. Netflix, 200 rands. Bank charges, 1,600 rands. I said, that's a little high on the bank charges. The husband says that is because he also has an overdraft of 2,000 rands, and it affects the bank charges. So more debt, more credit. Hair and nails, 1,950. In total, their monthly expenses are 82,450 rands. That's all their income allocated, right? It's a lot. It's a lot, man. If you look at their finances, they just work, get paid, and give their money to Woolworths. And then they say, no, we need to study further. We need to earn more. Our money cannot do anything. Our money is too little. It's really sad that both of them cannot see this income for what it really is. Both of you look at 82,000 and think, this is just the kind of money where we should just continue to struggle. Credit cards everywhere. Kids are not in school. Both of you, none of you is like, but this is wrong. None of you thinks, maybe 82,000 is not the biggest income, but surely it can do something. Surely it can take us somewhere. No, just credit cards, pay flex, pay just now. Something's gotta give. If not both of them, one of them needs to wake up. And maybe in their defense, this is that first step towards finally waking up and turning around. Let us go back to their savings and investments as well as debt balances to see what they can do to try to move forward. Remember, we took 500 rands from groceries, 8,500 rands from PayJustNow as well as PayFlex, and then 300 rands from the Standard Bank credit card. In total, that amount is 9,300 rands, but that amount will only be available in February because in January, when I'm recording this, they are still going to make those payments. So going forward, we will have that extra 9,000 rands to help with the debt, to help get started on an emergency fund, as well as those TFSAs, right? So this month, the only amount we have available is unfortunately the school fees because they decided not to pay. So that 8,600 rands is what we are going to use to get started. Take 5,000 rands, open an emergency fund, and with the remaining 3,600 rands, we take 3,000 rands, we completely settle our contempo debt. And then we are left with 600 rands. With the 600 rands, you can take the kids out, to make up for the trouble you put them through. And then going forward, we have about 9,300 rands that we are going to use to continue to build our emergency fund. Get started on those TFSA accounts, especially because the wife does not have a retirement fund. And then we also settle the debts. Going forward, our next debt is going to be Discovery, completely settled Discovery from that 9,300 rands. And then we put the remaining 4,300 rands towards the emergency fund as well as the TFSAs. Remember, as you settle the debts, the contempo, the Discovery, the amounts that you were paying towards those debts every single month becomes available. It comes and it adds on to that 9,300 rands. So going forward, when we get to Edgar's, we are not just starting it with a 9,300 rands. It's 9,300 rands plus whatever was going towards contempo, plus whatever was going towards Discovery. And we continue to make minimum payments on all the debts, but extra towards the debt that is the smallest at that time until we settle this debt. It's not going to be easy, but as you settle one debt, as you settle two debts, I'm sure they will be able to sleep a little bit better. The nightmares are going to slowly decrease with every debt moving away. And the trick is to pause, using the credit cards, because if we are paying and you continue to max out your credit card, then what are we doing? The real victory here will be being able to just stay away from the credit cards and the credit facilities and build an emergency fund and stop this thing of the credit cards, because you've seen it might feel nice in the moment, and in the long run, it leads to nightmares. And when that bonus finally comes in August, we can use some of it or even all of it to continue to settle the debts. Then next year, even if we continue to pay school fees month on month, then at least some credit cards are paid off. Then we'll be able to pay school fees monthly if they want and still have a little bit left over to invest more into our TFSAs, into our emergency fund, and be able to pay off the debt faster with what is remaining. So that is my analysis of our couple. We went through a whole debt payment plan until the car was paid off. But if I just go through that, this video is going to be really long. I see I've been at it for quite some time now. But if they just, stick to the plan and stop with this scarcity mindset and stop with this poverty attraction, and start making their income work for them instead of Woolworths. So I hope you found value in this episode. If there's any extra advice you have for our couple, please let them know in the comments. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, I hope you have a rich day.